on Stettin, past the wire. There's our favorite song, which can only mean two things. It's either now post time or time for more from past the wire. So, being that we're in the past the wire war room studio office, our 3-in-1 combo, it can only mean that it's time for a little bit more past the wire and a little bit more on the sport of kings. We'll get you caught up on the latest news. There's not a whole lot of it, but some of it is interesting, so we'll run through it. Carlos Marquez, very sharp veteran jockey, got his 3,000th win yesterday at Monmouth Park. Always a nice milestone for any rider. Congratulations to Carlos. 3,000 wins is a, pretty respectable club to be in. And, Carlos has been doing it a long time. Very solid journeyman, has, ridden in a lot of circuits on the, the East Coast, Mid-Atlantic, Jersey circuit, a little bit of Florida. He's really been around. Savvy veteran rider, capable of, really good ride and getting the job done. And nice to see Carlos get that milestone. And something I found rather interesting, and those of you who have been reading Past the Wire and following me for a while know that I have long been talking about Stewards' rulings and the inconsistency that we see in them all the time. And California Horse Racing, CHRB, California Horse Racing Board, is looking into the subjectivity in Stewards' rulings and the late odds changes that we see all the time. Now, I find it interesting that they chose the word subjectivity because, one of the things that I've been writing about for a long time, and you see more people talking about it now, but if you go back into, to some of the earliest past the wires, one of the things that I have been, advocating for is less subjectivity and more objectivity in Stewards' rulings. Now, to give a little history, there was a time not all that long ago when an inquiry went up, and when you saw the head-on, which you really need to see the head-on to understand what happened in a race, the pan shot doesn't give a true view. When you saw the head-on, you pretty much knew whether a horse was going to get disqualified or not. It was almost foolproof. It was, a foul was a foul, and that included infractions and fouls coming out of the gate. And there was much less out of the gate hurting back then, and today, gate fouls going back to Bayern in the Breeders' Cup Classic are almost not even looked at, and if they are, very rarely is there any change made to the order of finish. And what had happened was back then, when a foul was a foul and resulted in a DQ, much less subjectivity for the stewards. And what was happening was people were complaining, oh, that really didn't affect the outcome. That horse would have won anyway, or that horse wasn't going to win. And to satisfy, bettors and fans complaining about that very issue, which was, true in many of the cases, they kind of, and this is across many states, adopted a different philosophy and different rules, which gave stewards discretion in whether or not an infraction or a foul cost another horse a placing or a chance at a better placing or cost another horse a race or a chance to win. Now, that created a lot of subjectivity, and unfortunately, as in anything else in life, when there's subjectivity, there's differences of opinion. And if we saw consistency from stewards across the country, I think there would be a lot less complaints and we would be able to digest it a little better. But when you see a horse come down for something that you saw a horse a week before do worse and not come down for, it leaves a bitter taste. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's very frustrating. And these people are making decisions, let's face it, that affect our money. You're making decisions affecting our money. We've got no say, no recourse. Boom, you're right. See rule number 1 if you're wrong. Rule number 1 says you're always right. And that just doesn't work when people are putting money into the game and betting. So I have been a proponent of the old system where a foul's a foul. You foul somebody, you come down. Now, a lot of people don't like that, and I may be in the minority there, but it took away the subjectivity. and it created a much more level playing field. And a lot of times, they say, well, stewards are, ex-riders, and they're trained, and they know how to evaluate things. Well, if that's the case, why do we see so much, inconsistency, and, we see so many non-unanimous rulings, and, so many that we as bettors and fans and some of us longtime race watchers have issues with. And then you get into some crazy things where, Gulfstream, a couple of months ago had a horse with her head turned in the gate. When they sprung the gate, that was not declared a non-starter. Vic Staffa, who's been a steward and is a seasoned pro watching races, was one of the few people that thought the stewards got that right. Most people thought they got it wrong. I think, the head-on replay and the shot of the horses in the gate clearly showed that there was human error in the starter having his hand holding the horse while she had her head turned to the right. And, if he didn't yell, hold up, hold up, hold up, like he's supposed to, and the head starter didn't see it and sprung the button, to me that was human error. But, we're not going to have a hearing on that now. But the inconsistency, the subjectivity, the varying opinions is frustrating to the bettors. So I've been writing about this and using subjectivity and objectivity in those columns for a long time. And it's interesting to see that that's the word that the CHRB chose to use. And, what they're going to come up with and what they're going to do, we'll see. Whether other states follow, we'll see. The late changing of odds that they're also looking at is a frustrating thing as well. When you bet a horse at 2-1 or 8-5 or 5-2, and he clicks down to 6-5 during the running of a race, very frustrating. Exacta prices, the same thing. Sometimes the late money comes in and they're cut in half. They do sometimes click up. There's no doubt about it. It's a two-way sword. They don't always go down like some people say. Although when you're betting, sometimes it feels that way, but that's just an illusion, not reality. They go both ways. We know that, but it's frustrating. And with the technology, real-time technology we have, and the speed and the things that computers can do, we should have real-time technology with our odds. And with the money, once the money is bet, it should go into a central database hub that gives real-time odds, real-time projections, and this is part of embracing technology, which is something that our game has never really done on the level that they should, and that's a mistake. It's one of the reasons why attendance has fallen and interest has waned. The world is changing. How many people go out to shop today as opposed to a few clicks on a phone at Amazon and whatever you want could be at your front door? Betting, sports, all the same way. We have to encourage and make people want to come to the racetrack, which brings me to the next little bit of news we'll discuss. Belmont, as I understand it, and then the New York Racing Association, who I am a huge fan and supporter of. I grew up at NYRA tracks, worked there. My dad, my brother worked there. My close friends worked there. And just big time NYRA guy. But they do, like everybody else. You don't agree with every decision Churchill Downs makes. You don't agree with every decision NYRA makes. And here I think they're making a blunder. Apparently laptops are not going to be allowed at Belmont Park on Belmont Day. Huge mistake. Many reasons. First off, there's a $10,000 buy-in tournament that day. A lot of those tournament players like to play on their laptops. Laptops enable you to do a lot of different things with replays, sheet numbers, all kinds of different, state-of-the-art technology ways to handicap, as opposed to trying to read the old printed out, paper racing form, or even printing out your own form. Now, me, for a perfect example, Formulator. I'm a big fan and user of Formulator. I put my own trip notes in there for the horses. I want to be able to see that when I bring up my Formulator on the racing form. And, I personally use a tablet. I think they're going to allow tablets. I don't know that, but I can do the same thing on my laptop. And some people prefer laptops with the keyboard as opposed to the keyboard connection. It's technology. Now, if it's a security issue, I think that Naira should talk to Churchill Downs, who has as a big a security issue for the Kentucky Derby and allows laptops. So if it is a security issue, there's a way to handle it. NYPD are some of the best in the world at security and making sure that a venue is safe. So I think that's an easy workaround and keeping everybody, and also, they're being able to keep everybody safe. Embrace technology. Don't limit it. Anybody that is for the laptop ban, I can't understand why. From a handicapping standpoint, it helps some people. It encourages, the group of people, the demographic that we want to reach and bring in are technology users. They use laptops. Don't make them feel like they're not welcome by not letting them bring their laptops in, let alone the tournament players. And what about the media people that want to write their articles and do their thing while they're working there in the press box? I go to the press box at Gulfstream Park often and have been at many other racetracks. A lot of laptops around. So, everybody works on their laptops now. I just don't see the sense in restricting that on Belmont Day. I think Naira's making a mistake, and I don't know how anybody could be for that. It just doesn't make sense to me on any level. Getting more towards racing news, Oaks winner and real thing, Monomoy Girl, is heading for the Acorn Stakes, which is just going to be another spark on Belmont Day, along with Justify going for the Triple Crown in the Belmont Stakes. Now we're going to have Monomoy Girl, the Oaks winner, on the card in the Acorn. We're going to have the Met Mile and all those other stakes. So that day is just shaping up to be a huge day. So these cards that we're kind of having to put up with, leading into and probably, subsequent to the Belmont card, we're just gonna have to put up with them because that day is gonna make up for a lot of them. That's gonna be a heck of a racing day. We're gonna do a lot here on Past the Wire. We're gonna have a lot of videos about a lot of the races, a lot of analysis, a lot of discussion, a lot of angles, and it's just gonna be huge all around. So check back with us, subscribe. Anything on the Belmont card you want me to specifically address, just let me know, and we'll figure out a way to get it done. In more Belmont news. Justify had a really strong, very good-looking gallop. He looks really, right on target, and that's, another thing that's just going to add to the excitement, him training really well leading up to the race. Two horses that won't be there. My boy Jack is going to rest up a little bit and maybe point for the Haskell and Travers. That's always an interesting campaign. The Haskell, the Jim Dandy, and the Travers. You got those three races in a short span, mid-late summer. You get the late developing 3-year-olds and some of the 3-year-olds that took off after the Derby coming back and trying to get some resurgence in their campaigns. Always a great time of year, and a lot in that span points towards who's going to wind up the 3-year-old champion if they haven't already iced it, like Justify has a chance to do if he hasn't done it already. So that's exciting. That said, we may see Axeman pop up in some of those races. We know we're not going to see him in the Belmont, making things more difficult for Justify, but we can certainly see him in the Haskell or the Jim Dandy and possibly the Travers. And if Justify stays around after the Belmont, which if he wins, I doubt we see him race again after the Belmont, but you never know. I don't have any inside information there. I'm just, speculating on my own. I think if he wins the Belmont, he's gonna be off to stud and be protected, not racing. But I'd love to see him race more. I'd love to see him race a 4-year-old, but the odds of that are, forget it, off the charts. So. That said, Axeman is something to look forward to. Moving to our last subject here this morning, Alpha Centauri took the 1,000 guineas in Carragh in Ireland for Jessica Harrington, her first classic win. Daughter of Master Craftsman, beat 2 well-regarded Aidan O'Brien horses. One of them, Happily, who was the favorite. Daughter of master craftsmen for the Nyarkos family, powerful, racing family overseas, and, even over here on occasion. That was a nice win over there, and it's good to follow those really good European horses, all year long, because you get a better line on them when they come in for the big races here on, especially on Breeders' Cup Day. That's pretty much all we got. Exciting times in the sport of kings. Hope you are all enjoying these broadcasts. Kind of fun to bring them to you. It can cover a lot more in a shorter period of time, and there's a lot more to come. So, subscribe, check them out, share them, and thanks for all the support. Always a pleasure interacting and sharing ideas and bouncing off ideas with everybody and bringing you as up to date on the sport of kings as I can. So enjoy the Memorial Day holiday. Salute and thank you, and God bless all who have served, all who have sacrificed, and all who are still serving. If not for them, we wouldn't be enjoying the freedoms and liberties that we do, and we wouldn't be where we are today. So God bless them all, and ciao for now.